Forza Horizon 4 isn't a game that really piqued my interest, but the addition of these cars to the game kind of piques my interest. What cars are being added to the game? A game that didn't really sell all that great, but was a phenomenal game, is officially getting a sequel. Polymega shows off some Sega Saturn footage that has me wetting my pants, and evidently there was some Nintendo Direct event or something going on, I don't know. All that and much more in the Friday, September 14th edition of RGT News. Let's go!
GT85 coming to you with the freshest video game news. Now take it away.
So if you've been keeping up with the channel, you would know that a couple days ago I released a video talking about how I am in love with Spider-Man on the PS4, and after putting about 5 more hours into the game, my feelings still remain the same. I absolutely love this game. It is absolutely amazing. It looks great. It plays great. It really gives you a sensation of feeling like Spider-Man. I like the gameplay. I like the combat system. I do have a few nitpicks. The quick time events are kind of meh, and the camera can be a bit wonky at times, but this is definitely in contention for Game of the Year of 2018 in my opinion. A fantastic game and definitely one of the best PlayStation 4 exclusives. Well, the creative director of this game is giving PlayStation all of the credit for making this game happen. In a recent interview, he said, "It really all aligned. We've worked with Sony for so long over the years. Working with them again was awesome. This game would not exist if it wasn't for PlayStation, if not for their support." I'm telling you, anytime I wanted to do something and I wanted to make some drastic change, it was just like, okay, I never heard about anything. It was just like, go do it. The question was if it's going to make a game better, and I'd say yep, and they'd go okay, and that would be the last time I'd ever hear about it. So many people want to talk about Marvel and Insomniac, which is awesome, but I owe everything to PlayStation. And really, that's a cool thing in my opinion, because I don't think this game would have been as impactful and as good as it was and is if it was a multi-platform release, if this was having to be stretched out on things like the Xbox One and the Nintendo Switch and Steam and things like that. Most of the previous Spider-Man games were, of course, multi-platform release. I think honing this in as a PlayStation 4 exclusive really helped the game, and it's not like one of those overly cinematic experiences. It's definitely a game that's derived on gameplay. So hats off to Sony, hats off to Insomniac for making a fantastic game with Spider-Man on the PS4, because it's an absolute gem. Wolfenstein 2 released last year on the PS4 and Xbox One, and this year on the Nintendo Switch. And no matter what platform you played it on, the game absolutely kicked ass. It's a super fun game, a really deep narrative with some crazy combat, crazy scenarios, and just a really solid first-person shooter game that really hones you into the action and brings a lot of fun. But unfortunately, Wolfenstein 2 did not really sell all that great on any platform. It was kind of lost in the deep sea of games in fall 2017, and we haven't heard much about Switch sales, but I'm sure they're not as great as something like Doom or Skyrim was for Bethesda. Well, Pete Hines from Bethesda actually confirmed that Wolfenstein 3 is definitely in development. In a recent statement, he said, "At the end of the day, Wolfenstein did well for us, because we're about to do 2 more Wolfenstein games. Could it have done better? Sure. Absolutely, we're making a Wolfenstein 3. They said on stage that they're taking a break from the larger story to do this thing, but we all have to see how that ends." And I think that's really promising in my opinion. I don't think the Wolfenstein games really get enough credit. I think a lot of people sort of shy away from them because there is no multiplayer aspect to the game, and it's sort of hard to swallow a first-person shooter that's only a single-player experience in the modern times. You know, this was, of course, very common back in the day, but in modern times, first-person shooters sort of need to have this multiplayer experience, a lot of people feel. But I'm not really one of those people. I think if the game is good enough, it can stand on its own, and Wolfenstein 2 is definitely an exception to that and shows that a game can be good enough to be a first-person shooter and not have a multiplayer component to the game. Most games are just throwing away the first-person shooter single-player element. Games like Call of Duty, of course, have gotten rid of it. So I'm glad to see that they're doing a Wolfenstein 3. I think they're going to take the story in another crazy direction, and I'm really looking forward to seeing whatever they come up with. Something I'm really looking forward to on my Nintendo Switch is, of course, the Sega Aegis collection. And they released some new screenshots of the Sega Aegis collection, and it looks like some Sega Genesis games. I really don't have much to say about this. There's not really much to talk about because you are probably pretty familiar with these games. Games like Thunder Force and Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but I just wanted to remind you guys that Sega Aegis is coming out on the Nintendo Switch, and I'm really looking forward to it. I love old Sega games, I love Sega, so it's just something I wanted to show off. So yeah, there's some screenshots. I hope you enjoyed them. them. Forza Horizon 4 has officially gone gold and will be releasing with early access on September 28th and a worldwide release on October 2nd. And yes, this game will be available on Game Pass, but honestly, I wasn't that too interested in it. I played Forza Horizon games before. They're very fun, they're very over the top. I thought Forza Horizon 3 was a pretty good game, but I wasn't really interested in playing this game because it didn't really seem like they have done that much to deviate it from previous entries. Well, now they recently announced some James Bond cars that will be coming to the game, and now my interest is piqued once again. So the James Bond cars that will be available in Forza Horizon 4 are the 1964 Aston Martin DB5, inspired by Goldfinger, the 1969 Aston Martin DBS from Her Majesty's Secret Service, the 1974 AMC Hornet X hatchback, the 1977 Lotus Esprit S1, the 1981 Citroën 2C V6, the 1986 Aston Martin V8, the iconic 1999 BMW Z8 from The World Is Not Enough, the 2008 Aston Martin DB5, the 2010 Jaguar CX-75, and the 2015 Aston Martin DB10. And what's cool about these is they'll actually have some James Bond-like abilities too, like you'll be able to throw out some extra flares and extra bumpers and stuff like that. And I think that's sort of the crazy aesthetic that they need to do with Forza Horizon in the future, because it's an arcade game. It's a game that's based on speed and fun and fast stuff and jumps and crap like that. It's not supposed to be a very realistic experience, so I definitely like to see the over-the-top stuff really exemplified in future Forza Horizon games, and I think this is a good start. So now I'm interested. I love James Bond films, the older ones. I haven't really watched any of the newer ones, but I'm definitely looking forward to checking out these cars, and I guess I'll download it on Game Pass when it comes out on October 2nd. A system we've talked about on the channel before is of course the Polymega, and it's sort of a bit shrouded in mystery. Some people are a bit skeptical on it, myself included, but I think the premise sounds cool. Being able to play all of your cartridges, all of your discs on one system, it sounds like a dream made in heaven. Now, will this actually come to fruition as it is intended? I think time will tell with that. I definitely haven't pre-ordered it or anything. I'm definitely taking a more wait-and-see approach with the system, but I am somewhat optimistic. Now, Polymega recently announced that they will be doing Sega Saturn support on the system, and a lot of people's interest peaked. And today they released a 25-minute, or actually yesterday, they released a 25-minute video showcasing some Sega Saturn footage that supposedly is running natively on the system. Now, I don't know if this is emulation, masturbation, space station, I don't really care. I think it looks absolutely great. You see games on here like Sega Rally, you see games like Panzer Dragoon, you see games like House of the Dead and Guardian Heroes, and the gameplay looks really, really good, and it looks very good graphically. So I'm definitely very curious about this. If it plays as well as it's supposed to, if everything comes out like it's supposed to, the Polymega could potentially be the ultimate Sega Saturn and the ultimate retro gaming system, in all honesty. But we do have to take a wait and see approach with this. We definitely need some more details about it, but I think this gameplay footage looks really good. I'll leave a link in the description box down below to the full 25-minute video if you want to check it out. But yeah, it looks phenomenal. I really hope this pans out well, and I really hope it comes to fruition that the way that they are intending it to do. And finally, there was some sort of Nintendo Direct, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, but yes, it absolutely blew my socks off. If you watch my video on the reaction of it and going over the things that I loved about it, you know that I loved a ton of stuff about it. I won't hark too much on the stuff we talked about yesterday in yesterday's video, but there is some new information that we do have to talk about regarding this Nintendo Direct, some things that came out after the event as well. So I do want to touch on a few highlights from the Direct itself. Of course, one of the biggest highlights, Luigi's Mansion 3 will be coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2019. I really liked what I saw. It definitely looked like Luigi's Mansion. It looked pretty polished. Obviously, it is a work in development, but I definitely want to see more. Of course, Animal Crossing was also confirmed to be coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2019. No real gameplay was shown. Nothing was really shown. Just sort of an announcement. But really, 2019 is shaping up to be a crazy year for the Nintendo Switch with games like, you know, Metroid Prime and Bayonetta. And now we have all these other games like Luigi's Mansion and Animal Crossing. It's definitely heating up very quickly in 2019. One of my biggest surprises from the Direct was, of course, Katamari Damacy Reroll. I love that game. I love Katamari Damacy. I'm glad it's coming back. And this game is actually a Nintendo Switch console exclusive. It will also be releasing on Steam, but only on the Nintendo Switch, which is kind of surprising because those games really got their start on the PS2. And that game will be getting a physical release. We didn't know at the time of the Direct if that was a physical game, but yes, it will be getting a physical release and releasing on December 7th. So that that day is definitely circled on my calendar now that I don't own, but I'll put it in my mental calendar because I'm absolutely in love with Katamari Damacy. It's an awesome game. I highly suggest everyone go out and buy it. Now, some of the NES games were sort of shrouded in mystery that were going to be available on Nintendo's online service. Well, they have revealed the full list of games, and like I said in my video from yesterday, I spotted a few games that hadn't been talked about. Well, the full list is now available, and it includes the following. You have soccer, tennis, Donkey Kong, Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, Balloon Fight, Ice Climber, Dr. Mario, The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Bros. 3, Double Dragon, River City Ransom, Ghost and Goblins, Tecmo Bowl, Gradius, Pro Wrestling, Excitebike, Yoshi, Ice Hockey, and Baseball. So a pretty solid list in my opinion. I really want to see if there's going to be online play in Pro Wrestling because that would be absolutely awesome, like playing. I absolutely love Pro Wrestling. I think it's a great game. Definitely more of a fighting game than a real pro wrestling game, but there's some really good games on here. River City Ransom, Double Dragon, you know, third-party games that will be coming to the Nintendo's online service for the NES. That's a very good thing to see, and I'm really happy about Tecmo Bowl, of course. Tecmo Bowl is one of the best games ever, and it's great to see Tecmo Bowl on this list. Now, there was one huge surprise, and you see it in the title. You're like, okay, this video has been like 10 minutes long. He hasn't talked about what's in the title of the video. I like to save it till the end. I gotta leave you on your seat a little bit. But Assassin's Creed Odyssey, no, not Super Mario Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is coming to the Nintendo Switch via the cloud in Japan. What? What is this? What is this nonsense, Ubisoft? I still don't have Resident Evil 7 Cloud Edition on my Nintendo Switch in the States. Why do I not have this? The whole game is already translated. I tried to download it. I did successfully download it. When I would try to play it online, it would not let me, but I was able to find the English language in it, and everything was in English. So why are we doing this cloud stuff again? Why are we testing this in Japan? Is Assassin's Creed big in Japan? I don't really think so. But now, evidently, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, yes, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, is coming to the Nintendo Switch via the cloud in Japan only. I really want them to try some cloud-based games in the States. I want to try these games out. I want to see how they perform. I want to see how they play. But very interesting because I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey actually looks really good. It looks like sort of a departure from the Assassin's Creed that we know, sort of like a God of War style game, maybe an older style God of War game, but I'm really interested in that game. So to see it coming to the cloud, but only in Japan only for the Nintendo Switch is a bit disappointing. But yeah, Assassin's Creed coming to the Switch via the cloud in Japan. All right, and that is going to do it for the Friday, September 14th edition of RGT News. Let me know what you think of all the news in the comments section down below, what you thought of the Direct. If you are a believer in the Polymega, what you thought about the completely unnecessary Sega Aegis screenshots, but I just wanted to show it off. It's coming. Sega Aegis, baby. Classic Genesis games. Awesome. Awesome stuff. And as always, thank you for watching this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and of course, I will catch you guys on the next one. Later.